What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Some interesting news, an interesting different take that I thought was worth discussing. Bill Burr is being called a coward, and it's being said that he should get no credit for defending Gina Carano in the way that he has. And it's an interesting article that I wanted to go over. If you haven't been following along, Bill, it's not like he issued a public statement, and it's not like he, sent out a tweet. It was a conversational reaction to her termination. And it's being lauded as him making this kind of official statement. You see just all the articles in the last 2 days. Mandalorian Bill Burr defends Gina Carano. Bill Burr addresses Mandalorian's Gina Carano's firing. She was an absolute sweetheart. Shares blunt thoughts on Gina's firing. This again was a 20-second clip of a very long podcast. And while I would say that it's literally the only thing we've got, maybe there's a point here. You see the Mandalorian, Bill Burr shares blunt thoughts on Gina Carano. What was he in? 2 episodes, I think? Was it 3 or 2? Maybe just 2, I think. Again, his quotes, she was an absolute sweetheart, super effing nice person, and, whatever, and somehow someone will take this video and they'll make me say something else and try to get rid of my bald action figure. I know it's how it is out there. It's crazy times. People just waiting, laying in the weeds. And I obviously can relate to this now. There are just vile things being said about me currently on social media. And, again, I'm so thankful. We're making our ways up. If you haven't yet, please go over to subscribestar.com/The Quartering and back today. Hopefully we can knock out these next 2 tiers today as we work towards freedom from YouTube. This is it. She was an absolute sweetheart. When people asked him, was she trying to, talk about her conservative ideas with you? No, she wasn't talking politics. She was just a nice person. That's what people really hated. And then there's this article here. Bill Burr shouldn't be praised. He's a coward, and so are his Mandalorian co-stars. Quote, "A Jedi's strength flows from the Force, but beware the dark side." Now, I don't want to read this entire article word for word. Give credit where credit is due here. John Trent wrote it over on boundingcomics.com. It's worth a read. What his position is, and I thought this was, this is why I wanted to discuss it. He says, none of them have an ounce of courage to stand up for their canceled castmate Gina Carano. None of them. Most of them haven't spoke about it whatsoever in public, including executive producers Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni. Now, Carano did reveal in her interview with Shapiro that some people did stand up for her internally. She stated, quote, "I know there are some people that went to bat for me, but I know that they didn't really win out at the end. But the fact of the matter is that none of them have made any public statements about Carano's firing whatsoever." And the one person who's spoken up about it really admits that he's controlled by fear. Comedian Bill Burr, who plays Miggs Mayfield in The Mandalorian, recently discussed Carano's firing on February 24th on the Bill Burr podcast. And we all know his takes. So the position here is that, these actors and actresses are supposed to lose their jobs. You know what I mean? Like that's the position. And I don't think that that's a good position to have. I think that, it's kind of the whole, like, why don't you just leave YouTube argument? Because YouTube is currently where the people are. And yeah, I support BitChute and Odyssey. And I don't mind when people leave YouTube to watch my videos there. I support it, in fact. But the system is the way it is. And essentially sticking your neck out right now just means you're going to get squashed. I don't think it's fair to call Bill a coward. It's not like he dodged it. He said she was nice. I don't. He's concerned about cancel culture, and he should be. Now, we've seen this in the past with James Gunn, director, Guardians of the Galaxy, where he is let's be honest, he's a far left-leaning person. Most of the cast, as far as I know, if not all of the cast of Guardians of the Galaxy, with the exception of maybe one character, also are far left-leaning. It wasn't exactly brave of them to band together and demand James Gunn be rehired. They're all multimillionaires who weren't going to lose their job for it, because that position is publicly endorsed. We know this. Look at every late night talk show host. They're all robots with the exact same political takes, the same lazy drumpf jokes for 4 years. I don't think that, somebody coming out and defending Gina Carano only to get fired or canceled themselves is likely to happen. And I don't think that we should judge people for securing their bag either. It's not like Carl Weathers is, super duper rich. Is he, he's a random, a side piece on the show. Is he going to come out and say, and be a problem for Disney and end his career effectively in Hollywood anyway? No. And we shouldn't judge him for that. I think saying anything at all is extraordinarily brave and should be touted. And I don't think it's realistic to expect these people to just, immediately stand up against something that they know. It's like, you didn't take this fight that everyone knows you're going to lose? Coward. You didn't sue YouTube, Jeremy? Well, I don't want to ever hear you whine about YouTube censorship. That's just not how it works in reality. There are battles that you just know you can't win. So you stay alive long enough to find an opportunity. Bill Burr said what he said, and he should absolutely be commended for that. And I don't care that he admits he's afraid. He should be. And Bill Burr is extraordinarily left-leaning. He's just not about that cancel culture. He's not about that, easily offended life. They continue, not only did Burr reveal he's controlled by fear, but he also heavily implies that Carano sharing the post is a bad comparison. At multiple points, he describes it as ignorant. And again, he goes on to say, this post is clearly not ignorant. The ignorance comes from those deciding it as a bad comparison. Look, do I agree with those specific words that Bill said? No, he probably said, should have said dicey or risky. Yeah, we know Pedro Pascal makes those comparisons, but we know that Pedro Pascal has the right politics. Gina's got to know that it's different rules. It's different rules for free thinkers. I'm not saying I agree with that, but what Bill was trying to say essentially was that, she shared a stupid post that was maybe, risky or, whatever, and she lost her career. What he was saying was correct. And by the way, this is no hate on Bounding into Comics. I often source their articles, and in mostly they do excellent reporting. I thought that this article, though, the reason this article is interesting to me is because we have this conversation, right, in the free speech advocacy spaces. And do I think that her statements were ignorant? No, but you could also argue they are, because, she's ignorant of how it was going to be used against her. Maybe that's what Bill meant. Decrying the post as ignorant also shows that Burr is living in fear. He's parking in the media lie that there was something wrong with it. There wasn't. I get it. It's easy to take that absolutist position, but that's just not the way the real world works. I think, should we worship Bill for it? No, but you know what? He didn't hide from it. He openly commented on it. He talked about cancel culture. He talked about how it was negative and how, he didn't agree with it, obviously. So I think the point I'm trying to make is that people fight back in their own ways. We don't know what Bill's doing behind the scenes. Obviously, he was talking about Louis getting his career back. We don't know, just how much someone can risk. And him even saying that, look at all the press it's getting. There's been 100 articles written about it. So it absolutely was something worth congratulating him for, worth celebrating. And, when Gina comes out with her next project, I'm sure he'll support that too. I think that the live to fight another day thing, is an important value. It's not a cowardly thing. Staying and fighting until such a point where it becomes unproductive is still a valid way of fighting back. Throwing your hands up and leaving, taking your toys and going home, that gets nothing done. At least stay in the fight. That's half the reason I keep going back to Twitter, although I need to leave it after this week. Stay alive so you can fight back. And I think what Bill did is about as much as he could do. It's not like he's Pedro Pascal. It's not like he's the main character in the show. He could just never appear in the show again, and it would be totally fine without him. Look what they did to Gina, and her character had way more fans. So I think I would not call him a coward. I would never call anyone a coward for not willingly risking their career. The correct usage, that's a privileged position to be demanding someone else ruin their career for your personal politics. And I just won't do it. Can I be disappointed? Of course. But I would never expect someone to just walk into the buzzsaw for what? To prove a point? Great. Now you're broken out of work. How'd that work out for you? I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.